Gloria had heard this voice before, but the rest of you had not. And you heard laughter. I am not so bored anymore. Thank you. The camera now brings us back to the present. Broken glass and splintered wood cover the floor of the first floor hall of this house. The camera slowly moving towards the door of the cigar parlor, which is once again shut. Droplets of blood that lead to that door. And even from where the camera now is, we can hear labored breathing, frantic muttering. Give me something else, I have to stop the bleed. And the camera pushes in through the door, and we see this once well-appointed cigar parlor is a war zone. Blood, broken glass, shattered cabinets, huge dents in the wall, blood, bodies, fur and skin and bone. It is horrifying in here. And we return to you all just shortly after Gloria has successfully managed to stabilize Brock. Doesn't mean he isn't hurt. Holy fuck, he's hurt. It just means he isn't actively dying. And Brock and Gloria, you are the two I want to start with. Gloria, you have scraps and shreds of Nine and Hawthorne shirts, little bits of blanket that were available here in this study, and you have managed to create the best situation you can for Brock. You are covered in blood up to your forearms, splattered all around you. So I really want to know what you are doing in this moment outside of providing medical care. How you look to us on the outside, and how you're feeling inside. And then we'll get to you, Brock.
It's honestly a little bit strange because for as aloof as I often seem, in that moment where it was almost like specific precision or medical care was needed, it's almost like a switch goes off and I'm suddenly very meticulous, calculated. It's almost like my hands are moving like I'm remembering something that my body knows it more than my mind. And the act of bandaging Brock and going through this kind of scientific process feels more at home than it should, since I have no memory of ever treating wounds, working with anyone, or healing someone that way.
Gloria, I want to follow that thread for a second. As your hands are mechanically going through these processes, you do in fact remember something. Just a glimpse of who you were before whatever it is that brought you here did so. What is that memory?
I'm hearing voices in my head, And as I'm going through and I'm trying to bandage Brock, I remember this moment, even when I was introducing to myself to my peers here, that I kept saying, "Oh, I'm Gloria Goodwin," but it felt almost like the name was wrong. And in my mind, then I remember, "Oh no, I'm Dr. Gloria Goodwin," and I remember people addressing me with my title.
The sound of ripping fabric as you create another bandage. And as your hands go through this process, you just hear a voice you can't even remember who it belongs to, calling you Dr. Gloria Goodwin. And as you remember that, your hands unconsciously speed up in what they're doing, as if they themselves had gained confidence through this memory. Take a Benny. And as that is happening, the camera pans just ever so slightly down to where Brock is still propped up against a wall. Brock, what do we see?
He was dragged to this location. So you see where he came from. You see that trail of blood, scraps of fabric from his pants, leading the way to him with his back against the wall. And he is just covered in blood. His shoulders slumped over, his hair bloody, sweat, dirt, maybe. And he has a vacant look in his face, his hands straight on his legs, trembling, but nothing else on him moves.
And while you were dying, you saw a beach, but you're not dying anymore. But you're still not fully here. And you also remember something. Something of who you were before Bridgewater. What is that memory?
You're seeing it from his point of view. He looks at the ocean's horizon and it drifts into beach, and then you see in the sand what looks like blood, maybe potentially where the body that lays just 2 feet from where it begins lies, was dragged there. And he hears someone call Brock and cuts off. It fades as he's handed a piece of parchment with some names and places and things written on it. And he looks at the crime scene and realizes he used to command these environments, not play victim to them. And he remembers his job was once in fearlessness.
And a Benny for that as well. The camera pulls back from the two of you. And there's just so much blood. The wall, the floor, where you were dragged from the center of the room, just this streak. And Brock's clothing is minimal at this point. The jacket, waistcoat, pants, shirt, all have been shredded and bloodied to the point of near uselessness. And as we see this, in this moment, remembering that it was only about 2 or 3 minutes ago that that voice echoed in your brains, what do we see each of the rest of you doing in this moment? 9.
At the point of 9, hearing this voice, pretty much in his own brain, feeling so he's being mocked. You think this is the fucking game? And he's looking around, looking for whoever this is, like flipping furniture. He doesn't know what the fuck is going on. He keeps hearing weird fucking noises. He doesn't like it. 9 is angry. This person he just fucking met that he considers his friend, gave a whole pep talk to, is now bleeding on the floor, dying. And what was 9 doing? What was I doing out there fucking boxing with a fucking wolf? I could have been in here helping him and made sure nothing one of this could have happened. So as 9 is like tearing up, he's getting angrier and angrier and angrier. Covered in blood that's not his. He just kind of just stops.
Nine, when you were finishing your fight with the wolf, you started to hear the sound of cheering and applause, and you weren't even sure why in that moment. But you've had a little bit of time to ruminate on that, to let that marinate. And a small part of your long-term memory is unlocked with it. What is unlocked for 9?
What unlocked for 9 is bright lights above him. The crowd cheering the name. They're cheering a name, but he can't make it out. Looking around this giant square with ropes, and then getting punched in the face immediately, not knowing why, and then instinctively fighting this other person who looks similar to what a mortician would look like, and realizing this is person in front of you, fight. And having a full-on brawl with this person, similar to how he was out there with the wolf, missing punches, fighting, taking hits, doing these moves he's never done before, only to drop the person, the mortician in front of him, and pin him. And then the crowd gets louder, 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 and to the point where it's feeling an entire motion quivering over his body, but it's not a feeling of pain or fear. It's excitement and a rush of energy that he wants more.
And all of this happens just in a moment as you're taking one of the few remaining pieces of furniture and lifting it and launching it against the wall. 2 bennies for you. One for your memory and one for one of your hindrances, short temper. Karina. We hear and see 9 doing this. But what is Karina doing?
So Karina was standing right by the hatch, the trap door, and she's just going to let that fall close. She has still kind of semi-clasped in her ruined arm the bottle of wine, and she's let her gun drop at this point. So she's just going to uncork the bottle of wine, sit unceremoniously down on top of the hatch, and there are no tears. She just looks so angry, as if all the sadness and sorrow she's felt since those memories she got in the mist are all coming in the form of pure anger and need for vengeance. And every time she looks at Brock's bloodstained face, it intermingles with the memory of her past, of Jace's face, and it becomes to a point where they're almost indeterminable. She'll blink and she can't tell if she's seeing Brock or Jace, Brock or Jace.
And that memory of Jace, how did you even know his name? It's like a canker sore that you just can't stop tonguing. And you push a little bit deeper into this memory. Really? The word tonguing was the one that got you all? All right. That you can't stop worrying at. Fuck. It's just this little thing that you can't help but, it's like a scab that you just can't help but scratch at. So as you push a little bit deeper into the recesses of your memories, I'm going to ask you the same question that I've asked everyone else of what memory it is, but it is related to Jace. What is it?
It's a memory of a tree. A beautiful, tall oak tree. Its leaves just slightly golden with fall. And a sense of comfort and serenity surrounding her. She can hear gentle snoring from her left, and every time she looks over, although there's this nagging sense of betrayal and guilt within her chest, she can't help but have it be just whisked away with longing and love every time she looks over at the young man beside her. He's resting peaceful, and as she looks over and blinks once, it's all gone. Back to the anger and back to the sorrow.
But you blink, and instead of Jace, it's Brock there that you've been staring towards. How does Karina react in that exact moment, given that her brain has been linking these two people? In that moment with this deepened memory, how does that manifest when she once again looks at Brock?
She chokes on the large sip of wine she just took, just kind of coughing it out everywhere, and just lets the bottle fall to the ground, kind of unable to hold it anymore as her hands are shaking just so bad.
Karina sitting there, gun loose in one hand, wine bottle loose and falling out of the other. It's a Benny for you as well. And that brings us, lastly, to Hawthorne. Where are you in this beaten up war zone of a room at this moment? Are you standing near Brock and Gloria? Are you giving them space? Are you standing near Nine or Karina? Or are you off on your own?
Well, I was by Brock and Gloria, Hawthorne was, because he shedded his shirt to try and give clothing, and then he started looking around for something to cauterize wounds with, but it seemed like Gloria had it underhand. So finally having a second to think, he's standing a little bit away from everybody, not too far from a wall. He's looking down at his hands, and his whole body was covered. Obviously his shirt is off, so his chest isn't, but his hands are just covered in just so much stuff right now because he just used his horns to just impale everything, and he starts to hyperventilate.
You hyperventilate, and with that comes all of the increased adrenaline and all of the racing thoughts. And what is the little bit of who Hawthorne was that you see in your mind's eye?
So hearing this voice, Hawthorne hasn't heard someone taunt him like that in a long time, a laugh like that in a long time, something evil and just dark. And he just flashes back to just darkness. But he's like intense fear within himself. And he can feel something warm starting to cover his hands. And he can't control anything because it's a memory, but he starts lifting up the thing he's hiding under, and there's just bodies. Tons of bodies just slewn across this field. And he just slams back down the thing and starts freaking out more, to where in real life he puts his hand into his pocket and starts rubbing the rope that he has, and he hears a little giggle and a child going, "Don't be scared, I'm right here." And he just feels hope, and he calms down and he breathes. He doesn't know what's really going on, but he just takes a second.
Also take a Benny. This is the scenario that we find ourselves in as we return. As the camera circles around this study that is now demolished, splintered, broken, and bloody.
Nine, after calming down for a little bit, is going to look at Brock, look at the state that he's in, and head over to wherever the fucking clothes were. The what's the word? It's wherever fucking clothes are on that big ass thing I got this jacket from.
A wardrobe?
Thing. Thank you. Thanks. Words are kind of hard right now. We've been through a lot, so I thank you, Hawthorne, for that help. We're gonna go over there, find some clothes for Brock. Go to the liquor cabinet. I'm pretty sure there's some type of water of some sort and something to clean him up.
There's something that looks like water, doesn't smell like it. It'll definitely work for cleaning purposes, though.
Yeah. Disinfect him.
Nan, where's
What?
that thing you lit the cigar with, man? Maybe Gloria could use that to cauterize some wounds. Poor guy's pecker.
Nine's gonna reach into his pocket with the lighter and look to see if there's any. Oh God! To look to see if there's any like bladed or fork or something to help with that in the cabinet with the glasses.
As Nine's looking around and like trying to help find some of these resources, I want to try to light the mood a little. And so I'm gonna, even though my hands are like super covered in blood, I like don't want to get blood on my purse, but I like pull out a little handkerchief and I try to like wipe off Brock and be like, under different circumstances, it'd be quite a sight to have 3 members of our group topless. No? Okay. Well,
and he chokes on a little bit of blood. And rolls his head towards you. Thank you.
Okay. Kind of shake my hands out and just keep clearing blood off Brock's face, trying to.
You can see Brock trying to pick up his own hand, but every time he just barely gets his wrist off his leg, it just collapses down.
I take his hand in mine and just lay it on my other hand on your leg.
And you can see he tries his best to smile, but as his face shakes from the pressure of it all, you just see tears just roll down his face as he looks you right in the eyes. Thank you.
Brock,
Yep.
is there anything else you specifically are wanting to do in this moment?
Oh, for sure. After couple minutes of prolonged physical contact, Brock is going to muster up the courage, and he takes the hand that's on Gloria's. Can you a pocket wherever his coat is. He's looking for any of his vials. The vial, green.
Do I remember? Did I shred his coat?
No, his coat got, like, part of his jacket is still on him. Part of it was ripped off and is on the floor. But between the pieces, you do manage to find a small host of vials of different colors. But there are definitely a few that are green.
Okay, I grab whatever I find and try to hold him up.
And he puts his hand, he slaps his hand and then cups it and then lets his hand fall from yours onto his leg. And he just throws his head back onto the wall with enough force that it clink, and he just crushes the vial in his hand, glass going into his hand, the liquid pouring out and all over his legs. And he is going to he's gonna try to do some fucking healing.
So, as of right now, you are out of PowerPoints.
I am going to convert my bennies if I can.
I was going to say, because PowerPoints, for those of you who are listening or watching and don't know Savage Worlds, PowerPoints normally recover every hour. You recover your strength slowly, but you can also spend bennies to recover them immediately. Luckily, though PowerPoints don't restart at the beginning of each session, bennies do. And, Brock, for that awesome description of just breaking the vial in your hand, I'm giving you a benny for that. So if you want, instead of adding a fifth benny, you can just spend it as soon as receiving it and recover 5 power points.
I'm going to do that.
Okay.
Maybe
Benny.
we can take on this creature with all these bennies that we have right now. Let's just go straight down there and take on this
you're
creature
totally
with these
right.
bennies.
No, I think you should. I think you should do
Maybe if
that.
we wait like a few hours, I can get...
We waited for a few hours. Look what happened.
Well...
It's probably fine.
All right, so using a Benny to recover your power points gives you 5.
Yes. I only require 3, but I'm going to use my healing. Utilizing 3 of my power points. It removes wounds less than an hour old. A success removes 1. A raise removes 2.
So, because of the state you're in, I'm not going to apply any penalties because your wounds will already do that for you. Because you have 3 wounds, which gives you a -3. So, it's an alchemy roll. That is your linked
Got it.
power skill.
We're looking at a nice 4.
Which is a success. So, with your first use of this power, you remove 1 of your wounds. Could you describe what part of your body heals and how?
So the lower regions are pretty ravaged right now. And the vial has been crushed onto the thigh and additional adjoining regions. So we're just looking for a little less shreddage in the hammy thigh and quad department, so that we can use our legs.
The liquid from this concoction that you have.
I'd love a ball back though, if I
As
could have
you-
that, but okay, anyway.
I mean, you can have a fake one if it's like for your own
Ooh, like a glass
self-image.
eye.
Yeah,
But
it's
it's my ball.
it's called a nudicle. Don't ask me
Wait, is
why I know
that
that.
legitimate?
Yeah, it's an actual thing.
Yeah.
That's it's for dogs. At least that one is. It was a whole special that Penn and Teller did on their Penn and Teller bullshit show, and I still remember it years later. But the liquid, as you crush it, the open wounds in your thigh and groin as it goes there, it immediately regrows the exterior layer of skin and muscle and all of that, basically creating enough time for your body to safely heal the wounds underneath without risk of further infection. You still have 2 power points remaining, which is not enough by itself to cast it again.
What happens? What is the conversion rate of the Benny to PowerPoint
1 to 5
system? Okay, so can I take another Benny and do that?
You can spend
because I'm
another
gonna
and regain
have
5
to do
again.
that. Yeah, because
All right.
I've got 2 out of 3 wounds still, and that would just like really help me out. So I'm gonna do that again.
One of your 4 remaining bennies, giving you now 7 remaining power points, which gives you 2 uses of your healing here.
For heal guy, I got a 5.
5, because now your penalty is only a -2, because you don't have 3 wounds. And a 5 is enough to recover 1 more wound.
That's nice.
And again, you're just sitting here. Does Gloria notice? Obviously, Gloria would notice the physical healing occurring. The fact that an open bite wound on your upper thigh where there are vital arteries is closed and healed. Obviously, Gloria notices that. But is there any change in Brock's lucidity or behavior throughout this process?
Brock is trying his best not to pass out. He is struggling under the immense amount of pain that he was in before, and now with the combined healing, it's itchy. Everything's itchy, and he's grumpy. But he's trying not to pass out because the pain of his skin pulling itself back together, his severed arteries trying to reconnect is excruciating. So he is sweating quite a great deal, probably shaking as well.
This is painful. And all of the pain of the natural healing process, all of the itch and burn and recovery period is just all condensed in time. And so you experience all of that pain, all of that weakness and fatigue and nausea that comes with recovery from a major wound. And you experience that in 10 seconds. You still have 4 power points remaining, which is enough to try to use healing 1 more time. If you want. Not forcing your hand.
Yeah, Brock at this point is still pretty bad. He's pretty bad off. But he's now able to understand that the people around him are probably also hurting. So I think he is going to... If I let this go for too long, though. This is an interesting system.
Isn't it? Because if you let wounds go for over an hour, they're harder to heal. Not impossible, especially with powers, but hard.
I got faith in you.
To withstand it and just keep my power points, or to like nuke the power points to get the healing?
So if I'm trying to heal myself with the skill of healing for 10 minutes, do you sit in one spot for 10 minutes and you don't move?
Mean, it's... Imagine what you would have to do to try to treat a huge gash on your leg. You would have to sit down, probably. You'd have to get your stuff to clean it. You'd have to bandage it. You'd have to focus. You'd have to stitch. And all of that probably isn't going to be easily done while running. Now, can you, do some of it in this room and then, walk over here and sit down and keep it, sure. But you certainly can't do it while doing other intense activities. So if you want to try, Hawthorne, to treat your own wound, you would just make a healing skill roll. If you don't have a skill, and it's not one of the 5 core ones, it is untrained, which is a D4 minus 2. Critical failing on healing yourself gives you another wound, just so you know.
So since I'm watching Brock try to... I can see that he's healing himself. Can I spend this time to try to heal the last wound?
100%. So, Gloria, go ahead and make me that healing skill check.
A 5?
5 is a success.
Do I notice an area that looks like it needs particular help, Brock, or is it kind of up to...
I'm just kind of wrecked in a general state. So, anything's going to be good. He's got claw marks and bite marks on his face, his neck, his upper body, his jacket is torn off his shoulder, and his shoulder is missing chunks out of it. Arms are bleeding with scratches from where he rolled on the floor. I mean,
Brock was legitimately within an inch of death.
Wanting to give Brock a little bit of privacy, I'm going to pull a bit of the cloth over kind of the area that I see healing. And instead, I'm going to kind of like scooch up. And so I'm kind of closer by your chest and head. And as I do this, I'm noticing that I'm like dragging myself through blood and like, okay, it's fine. Shake it off for professionalism. As I get kind of up close to, your chest and head, I want to take my handkerchief and kind of clear around your face. And I'm just going to give you a gentle kiss. Be like, it'll be okay. It'll be okay. I'm going to try to just take care of your face.
He doesn't move, but you feel his face flush.
You're good. You're okay. And just clean up your face.
Thank you. And he just looks at you. Pupils are enormous.
I like people looking at me, so I just keep going. I'll take my comb out, kind of brush your hair. Just feel like everything's gonna be okay.
After about 10 minutes of tending from Gloria, between Gloria's skills and your skills, Brock, I'm not going to say you feel 100%. You don't, you might never again. But you feel better than you did. And if anyone else is doing anything over the course of this 10 minutes...
Yeah, Karina is not going to attempt medicine on herself because I don't have that skill, and the odds of me succeeding with 2 wounds is next to nothing. It is literally nothing. She is just going to do what she can, which is treat her pain, and she's going to pull out her little ivory pipe and just try to forget everything that has happened around. And as she lets the drug take her, she's gonna focus on that feeling of peace that she had experienced for like a second, and she's just gonna try desperately to go back to it, probably without any success, but that is what she's going to do. She's just gonna lean against the wall and just indulge and kind of close herself off from this place.
I imagine that I don't notice Karina closing off at first while I'm helping Brock. But once I feel like Brock is in an okay spot, I do want to walk over to Karina and kind of cross my arms. I'm not exactly happy. And I'm going to look at you and say, you can't run off. You can't do that.
You're not wrong. I physically cannot run off right now.
Well, that too, but also emotionally. You sit down. And then I want to go through and I'm going to French braid your hair and try to also spend 10 minutes healing her too.
All right, make
I'm
another
just
healing
muttering
check.
to myself, like, have to do everything around here. It's like everybody's just wandering off.
As you are making that check, she's not going to look at you, but she's going to whisper. Just when you get close enough to her, she's just going to whisper, I think you were right. Losing one's mind is the worst thing imaginable.
My hand's still. I know. I hope that you never let me get to that point.
I won't.
Good.
I will not let you go.
Good. And I'll keep rating and I'll make this check. I rolled a 5.
5. That is enough to, over the course of this 10 minutes, remove one of Karina's 2 wounds.
Would you remove the one on the leg or the shoulder? Sorry, Ethan.
I imagine.
Because you weren't here, I'll give you a detailed description of what both of them are. The leg
I
is
was
just
not here, so I'm not sure what I would do.
Yeah. So the leg is she got mauled by a fucking dog, and her one leg is just completely ripped apart. And the shoulder, it looks like, for lack of a better description, a laser burn that goes across her collarbone and down like partway onto her chest, almost to the sternum.
And though you weren't here, Gloria was, and you know that that shoulder injury is from the very beginning of the fight, from one of Brock's offensive powers that was a long beam of energy and caught Karina in the crossfire.
Yep.
I will sit behind you, and after I've braided your hair, I'm going to heal or work and tend to the shoulder one. I don't want Brock to feel any worse than he's feeling. And I worry that a visual reminder of accidentally hurting a friend couldn't possibly make things better.
Alrighty.
That is one of Karina's 2 wounds. Are you, Gloria, planning on trying to treat the other? Or is anyone else? Oh, Brock. Okay.
As I see Gloria go over to help our other friend, and I see that she's down, and freaking Hawthorne, and I don't even see. He starts to panic as he can't see 9 necessarily, but he can hear some rustling, so he hopes that's who that is. He now has the physical strength to move, and he gathers himself up in the most sluggish. He's barely moving, but he's got locomotion, so we're happy. He gets the pockets of his coat and he gets out a vial and he shakes it and he says, crawls over to Hawthorne. This, your hand. And
Brock, you can barely move.
Just trust me. Take my hand. And he pops off the cork. Do you take his hand?
Hawthorne starts to reach out his hand, trying to use his other hand to lift up Brock a little bit and support him.
And he just kind of looks up at you, and the slight beginning of a smile starts before it fades back as reality hits him. And he dumps it all over you, and he claps his hand down as on your hand as the liquid gets all over and then drips down onto the floor and puddles at your feet. And you just feel a vibration and a slight haze of green fog lift off of you gently as he tries to heal you. 7.
7. Almost
How
a
many do you
success with a
have?
raise.
Oh, almost. Okay, cool. Got it. So that's one wound. Remove it.
Which I believe was all Hawthorne had. So, if my accounting is correct, all wounds have been removed except for one still lingering on Karina.
I feel like even as like I can see her getting better, I am like struggling to like leave Karina. I just like don't want to move away. And so I think just to even like do something with my hands, I'm just gonna like keep going. Like I'll try. Like I don't know how to help this, but and I almost feel like I'm moving without even realizing what I'm doing. My hands are just kind of like, okay, I can stitch. Okay, I can.
Make me that healing check.
This is it. This is all I can try.
You can always spend a Benny if you fail.
That's a 4.
4! Nailed it! So, as you, again, like you said, almost partially just to not leave Karina right now and just have something to occupy yourself, as you begin treating the remaining wounds, you just keep hearing in your head, Doctor? Dr. Gloria Goodwin? Dr. Goodwin? Just those voices calling you doctor. And so now, we're about 40 minutes after the last wolf was punched and gored and clawed to pieces. All of you have had your injuries treated. Anyone who had fatigue, because it's close to an hour, can remove 1 fatigue. And now that we're at the halfway point, this might be a really good opportunity. Since the last session, all of our PCs advanced. That's the Savage World's term for leveling. And as a result, everyone got to make themselves a little bit better. So, I would love it if people could let the audience know what you did to improve your character. There are a few options that they have available to them. Brock, why don't you lead us off?
More PowerPoints.
Took the edge PowerPoints, which increased Brock's total possible PowerPoints from 15 to 20. 9. What about you?
I took martial arts, which upgrades my already claw weapons a die type. So now I can hit with my claws a D8 now instead of a D6.
Plus your strength, which is already a D8. So your damage is 2D8 now, and each one can still explode.
Yep.
Karina.
I got myself another edge, which is relentless, which allows me to be able to attack while I am shaken, which is pretty cool. Or not even just attack, but also use a action just at a small penalty, large penalty.
But it gives you the option, which is huge. If you're out of bennies or you don't want to spend them and you still want to try, that's a great option. Anna Margaret.
I increased some of my skills, and so I'm slightly better at shooting now that I've done it a little bit throughout the house, and I'm also a little bit more sure of myself in my knowledge of the occult, and so I'm a little bit more proficient in using some of the powers that I found that I have.
Hawthorne, what did you get?
Hawthorne went classic barbarian style and decided to up his fighting. So he is kind of a, what is it, a 10 die now? I think I might be a 10 die. Yeah, I'm a 10 die.
D10 on your fighting skill is no joke. All right. So that is what everyone took for their first advancement. We cut forward just about 20 minutes from where we left off. So you all have had an hour of rest. Those of you who have PowerPoints have recovered 5 more PowerPoints. Those of you who were fatigued can remove a level of fatigue.
So during this time when everybody was doing all the interpersonary bonding and all the healing and shit. 9 was looking for his boy's fucking clothes because his jimmies are still out. Okay, and his clothes are all shredded. The tree is mighty and it's still there, but you know, the fruit's not bearing anymore. But I bring Brock some new clothes. Hey, Brock, look, your shit's all fucked. It's okay. While he's walking, he just hears a squish.
You started your search for clothing for Brock here in this study because it's where you found a smoking jacket, but the smoking jacket was really the only article of clothing here. This isn't a bedroom or a closet or anything like that. So you actually returned back to the 3rd floor, the 3rd story, where the master suite is, because there is a closet in there that contains male fitted clothing. You have some choices here as to what style you bring back for Brock. So, given the knowledge that this home belonged to fairly well-to-do individuals, what do you bring back?
So, I bring back this very, very nice black suit with a black vest, a reddish-looking tie with a white shirt, a tan trench coat, and a gray hat with a black band around it. Okay? On the coat and all of the stuff on it, it has a HB brand with a falcon as the symbol. Humphrey Bogart, Maltese Falcon. That's so
Fuck
now.
yes! Take it, Benny!
So I bring this back for Brock and get some new shoes too, because all those other ones are fucked, covered in blood and all ripped up. I also bring back clothes for me and Hawthorne too, because we are currently rocking the guns out. And hey, here you go, man. You can change into that. That's all I can't do much, but I at least got you some clothes that you could change into.
Thank you. He's obviously super flattered by this. He's and looks over at Hawthorne. Really nice.
Well, these are great, man. Thank you. And he'll set down Brock because he was holding him. And then he'll start to put on his shirt, and we obviously see Brock struggle, so 9 and I have to probably help him with his clothes.
Can't lift his arms.
9. I will also say, on your way back down, when you were on the 2nd story, the sound of the wind and the rain against the window panes is everywhere you go in the house, except for the basement. But on the second story, landing, you also hear the sound of scratching at one of the doors, and this soft tinkling of metal.
So while 9's, getting him dressed and whatnot, I'm gonna go step out real quick and get changed. Hey, I'm a little shy a little bit by myself sometimes. So it's okay. And he's going to creep back out and go right back to the door, the floor where he heard the thing.
Did you let anyone else know that you were going?
No, all they know is that I'm going to go change.
Okay, so as he walks in there with the 3 outfits, Karina's gonna look down at her very ruined top and her incredibly exposed person covered mostly in bandages and just kind of look glare at Nine a little bit, just out of feign offense mostly. And if she sees him leave the room, she will follow him. If Gloria will let her, because I don't know if Gloria is still there or not.
I'm still holding your hand, and so if you get up to leave, I just come to.
Okay, then she will take Gloria with her, and she's leaving for a different reason than the reason Nine was going, allegedly, but she's gonna go find whatever was barking. She is determined to end this right
I
now.
thought we were getting close.
Well,
Did you see how pretty those were? I bet they've got like some dresses and stuff. My tights have blood on them. As
I know,
before we go,
I have
I
to
like
give
shimmy
you a
out of my
penny.
tights. Like while we're away from the gentleman, I like shimmy off my tights and just like throw them to the side and be like,
I think
fine.
if Karina sees that, she'll do the same thing, because one of her whole legs of tights has been ripped apart from the dog, so she's just gonna pull hers off too. Okay, we can stop for clothing after or before the dog.
It's up to you. I mean, just before we like go on too far.
Okay, then she'll just go up to the 3rd story where she remembered seeing the cupboard instead.
Two things. First of all, each of you, Karina and Gloria, take a penny for being so concerned about the state of your stockings. And second, Nine, I have a question. You exited here, or started to, with the intent of returning to where you heard the scratching alone. But now you have 2 people coming with. Does that change your plan?
No, but I'll stop to actually get changed because I don't. I'm covered in fucking blood. I still got clothes to put on. So I'm just gonna change out in the fucking hallway.
Well, we both definitely walk in on you.
Hey. You,
And Karina will not look away. She'll just raise an eyebrow and walk by you.
okay. Puts clothes on and listens for how far they walk to see how far, if they stop or go up.
Karina, Gloria, were the 2 of you going to the 2nd story or the 3rd story where the master suite was? Because when you get to the 2nd story, you hear scratching at a door.
We both know what happens when we open doors alone. I think let's go get some clothes first and wait for Nine.
Let's get clothes, get Nine, then we can open the door.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that sounds good. And we'll make our way to 3rd story.
In that case, Brock and Hawthorne, these 3 have exited this space. What are the 2 of you doing? Are you going along, or are you staying here?
Well, after Hawthorne gets done putting clothes on Brock, he looks up and looks around. Brock, I think everybody's gone. What the fuck, you guys?
His head kind of rolls onto the front of your shoulder. Go find them.
Oh, we're fucking gonna go find them together. Get their asses. We gotta go and find something else. You're going off on your own. We just got attacked by 3 things. And he's gonna pick up Brock and literally just start storming out of the room and like looking around for them. And they will literally go from room to room / level to level trying to find them. They're not gonna just go upstairs because they don't know where they went. So I will admit, whatever first room they find, they're gonna start trying to see if they're in this room.
Absolutely. So as you are looking around, you find 9 incredibly quickly. 9 was basically right outside the door of this room.
Naked.
More or less. But you find 9.
There you are.
So everybody else gets privacy but me. Okay, is that the thing? Is that what we're doing?
Do you want privacy? I'm so sorry. Oh my god. And I'll just turn around and I'll have my back to him. I'll be like, is that enough for you?
But now Brock is facing. Sorry, I'll close my eyes.
Fantastic!
God.
Take a Benny, Brock. That was funny.
You know, I don't ask for much. I don't ask for much. It just finishes getting his clothes on and just putting on, and it's a nice shirt. Back to the suspender shirt combo. There was only, unfortunately, 1 or 2 other jackets, male jackets, and I let you 2 have them. So it's okay. He's got nice jackets. I put my smoking coat back on. It's all right.
I think you look good in the coat, man. You look good in that coat.
Thank you. So what are you guys doing?
No. Where's the girls? Where'd the girls go?
And you're gonna see his cat ear just kind of perk and like listen up. They're on the 3rd floor.
We're all separating. I don't know what's wrong with you guys. Why'd you come up here again? What did you want to change on another floor? Is that what you scared of us?
Okay, listen. I just wanted some peace to myself a little bit. That's all. You know, just out here. Everyone's all beat up and shit. Takes out a cigar, lights the bitch. I didn't want to fucking smoke in front of everybody. Give somebody some fresh air.
What's that? Wait, what's that noise?
Huh?
Do you hear a scratching?
At about this moment, for the convenience of the narrative, the 3 of you were ascending the steps to the 2nd story, and just about the same time, Karina and Gloria descend the steps to the 2nd story.
Wearing
So-
really cute dresses.
I was going
We're
to
bedazzled
ask,
and adorable.
please tell me.
While they're discussing our whereabouts, we're pouring through the closet. This is definitely an affluent house. They have a wide variety of really beautiful drop-waisted dresses. I'm very interested. Karina, what do you think?
Karina is just going to feel each of the fabrics. Remember, she's high as a fucking kite right now. And so she's just going to go down the fabrics until she finds one that's like a very light but high quality velvety sort of dress in black. And she's going to pick that. It's got like a nice little blouse, a separated skirt, and little black velvet sort of jacket, and then she's going to pair that with a hat that has a mourning veil on it.
Ooh. I smell new artwork.
I go through and I do like brief fashion show-esque things for. I'm like, wait, what do you think, Karina? This one? No, this one?
No, that
No,
color,
okay.
no.
I end up settling on like a white dress that looks like it's completely beaded, and it has like little beautiful pearls that match my pearl necklaces. I find some extra cloth to try to wipe the blood off my necklaces and myself before putting on the new dress. And yeah. Panic when I realize we're both a little bit covered in blood. We run into the master suite, wipe off all the blood. I am unfazed that I'm completely naked, wiping off all the blood before putting on this dress.
Oh,
I'm
Karina does not carry there.
more concerned about the dress than that.
Yeah,
We
pretty
look a
much.
li-
But mine's black. It hides the blood. It's fine.
And this whole little scene with Gloria and Karina is taking place in the master suite with its double doors, its dusty stained glass windows, there are cobwebs all in the corner, and the portrait of Mr. and Mrs. Durst over the fireplace looms large in this space. But you've already investigated this room. You've already found the unsettling note in one of the jewelry boxes here at the vanity that you two now inspect yourselves in, cleaning yourselves off, getting yourselves dressed. And so, as we do eventually see the two of you descending the stairs as the other three are ascending, what outfit did you settle on, Gloria?
It's a party dress. It's long sleeves that kind of have beaded accessories and accents in the shape of flowers all over. Drop-waisted, little frilly swishy skirt. Does not look like I'm going into a battle. I look like I'm going into a party. But if you've attended many parties with people that you don't necessarily like, it's actually about the same. It looks, I would say that the two of us in black and white, we look quite striking until I slip on the stairs and start to tumble down.
Take a penny for your clumsiness. So, Brock, Hawthorne, and Nine, you see your two companions in cleaned up, blood and wounds either washed off or treated and bandaged, and dressed in as opposite in style as in coloration. And then Gloria slips on the stairs.
Ah, Nine!
And just, I was gonna say, how far do you? And I'm just gonna catch her. Hey, you guys look really, really pretty, and really, really nice.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you.
you're welcome.
I wrap my arms around Nine and don't move to be set down yet.
Do you want me to put you down now, or?
I guess.
Okay. Puts her down the most stately as possible. Just there you go. I'm sorry I couldn't pick you guys out anything or anything. I'm not really good with women's fashion at all. I'm kind of colorblind, so it was hard to pick those colors out too. So I just noise.
And you say noise at right about the moment that there is, again, a scratching at one of the nearby doors, a door that you all haven't investigated yet. And there is, for those of you most perceptive, that soft tinkling sound of metal on metal.
Karina will take Gloria's hand again, and she will start to lead the way towards that door.
It is the door as you're descending on the right in this hall. Those of you who were coming up, it'll be on your left. It's the one that you haven't checked here in this room. Actually, or on this floor. Actually, I don't think you have checked any of the rooms on the second story yet. But there are only two doors here on this landing. Left and right. One of them has scratching sounds. One of them doesn't. Do you all go investigate that sound or not?
Yeah, why not?
Who opens the door? Nine and Karina. The two of you approach together. It is a set of double doors. So you each grab one, look at each other.
How many bullets you got left in that thing?
What thing? I left it downstairs.
Oh fuck, did you?
It's fine. I'll just back up if anything goes wrong. And she's going to go and pull Gloria, so Gloria's behind her.
And Hawthorne's turning with Brock, like hiding Brock a little bit.
And then she will open the door.
You open one of the two double doors that has the stained glass set into it. And here on the second story, things are still well polished and oiled and dusted and pristine. And this door opens with a click and without any squeaking of hinges. But as soon as the door is open just a few inches, you are hit, Karina, as something runs into your shins and then seems to cower behind you. And you look down, and the tinkling of metal is coming from a tag on a collar. And you see a small, old dog. This dog was probably all black with a little bit of white fur at one point. But age and time have spread the white hairs and white fur across this small, mangy, big-eared looking dog who retreats immediately behind your knees and sits quite comfortably and looks up at you. Big pleading eyes.
I first ask for all of your guys' forgiveness before I do what I'm about to do. Karina looks down at the dog.
This is a horror game. Nothing that
I
our
know.
characters do in this game is necessarily what we would do.
I am the mother of 2 dogs. This hurts me. She looks at the dog, and everything starts to click in her mind. And they feed me. The need of something alive, the need to escape, and she grabs this dog by its its scruff at the back, lifts it. Let's go. And she start walking.
And even then, as these pieces fall into place for you as you grab this dog by the scruff and lift him roughly, his tail still wags. He's saved. And safe.
Ethan, you bastard.
And you're able to, the rest of you, anyone who wishes to quickly glance at the tag, sees that it's rusted and chipped, but you can still see the engraving of Lancelot.
She does not look down at the dog. And there's this coldness on her face that has not been seen there before. When she just turns with one hand holding the dog kind of like a football, and the other one holding Gloria. Just determination as she goes down the stairs.
Oh, she's gonna fucking kill that dog.
Oh no, Hawthorne
Dog?
literally walks in front of her and sets Brock down so that another person is standing right next to him, but Brock, it will do what Brock does probably. But I stand right in front of her and I go, hold on a second. Where the heck are you going? Do you think giving this dog to this creature's gonna give you something? What if it does nothing?
Do you think we have any other choice right now? Do you want to stay in this fucking house forever? Do you want to walk into the mist and see everything you have done wrong? Do you want to
What
die
if this
of
doesn't
failure?
fix it, Karina? What if this doesn't fix it? What if this
What if
just
it does?
feeds it further? What if it makes it worse?
We have literally no other options. We are going to lose our minds. We're going to lose ourselves. We almost watched Brock lose his life literally an hour ago, and you want to stop me over a fucking dog? Let me go, and let's finish this. Please. Hawthorne.
Hawthorne will let her go, but at the same time, not take part in this.
Brock, at the mention of a dog, passes out.
Yeah, so Nine or him or myself pick him up.
What are we doing with the dog?
Oh, she's gonna fucking kill him.
Oh.
So, Karina is marching full steam ahead. Karina, which direction are you going? You now have 2 ways that you know of into the basement. And that is either from the stairway in the attic or from the trapdoor in the cigar parlor. So are you heading up or down?
She's actually going to do both. She's going to go down to this cigar parlor, pick up her gun, and then she's going to go back up. And she's going to take the stairs because climbing down a ladder while carrying a dog is not necessarily the best option.
This whole process of collecting your firearm and reclimbing back to the attic takes 5-7 minutes. Are the four of you simply following behind?
Nine's gonna go the opposite way and meet her around the other way.
I guess if I'm carrying Brock, I'm definitely going to have to take the stairs. But first, Brock, since Hawthorne has Brock in his arms. Brock's passed out, I'm assuming? Just completely?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hawthorne's going to
Useless.
hate the situation in general. He wants to go and see what's in the room that we haven't gone into before he goes up the stairs because he doesn't really want to be a part of this.
Okay. So really quick, you peek your head in the room that the dog came running out of. In here, the main thing that catches your interest immediately is a piano. This room looks like it was a conservatory of sorts. Gossamer drapes covering the window, a brass-plated chandelier hanging from the ceiling, chairs lining the walls, ready to listen to whomever is performing in here. The room right across the landing from the conservatory, as you open this door, it appears to be a library. There are red velvet drapes covering the windows in here, and floor-to-ceiling bookshelves lining one of the walls. Hundreds of different tomes and scrolls in here. If you wanted to press further in and investigate either of the rooms more, you certainly can and get more information, but from right here, that's what you notice immediately.
I think Hawthorne would just, since he went and found a book before that gave him some knowledge towards what was going on here, he would sort of look into the library, not pulling anything off the shelves, but trying to see if there were open ones on like a table in the center of the room, sort of looking at what somebody was researching and looking at in the room.
Could you make me a notice check? This is going to be with a -2.
Noticing Hawthorne looking around the room, I hearing these memories reminding me of my title as a doctor. I'm further reminded that, while I went to medical school, I'm pretty good at researching. And so peeking into the room, using my investigator trait, can I also help Hawthorne look around?
Absolutely.
I want to specifically look, just glancing as they are. Like, they're clearly looking for current research. I just want to follow them and see if I notice anything important.
Absolutely. So, this would be...
Can I help them with their role, or should I make my own?
Depending on what you want to do. So, you have two choices here in terms of what skill to use, Gloria, and that would be research to make sense of the papers that are on the desk, or notice if you want to look more generally at things. You, because of your investigator check, or your investigator edge in this specific situation, have a +2 to your notice check. So it would probably be better strategically if you just rolled your own rather than giving advantage or giving a bonus, but it is your choice which you would like to do.
Okay, I'll roll my own after they've kind of looked around.
Okay.
To see if maybe there's something I could point out to them. Or
Sure. So, Hawthorne, what did you get? And...
I got oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I got a 5.
A 5, was that with the -2?
Yeah, it was. It exploded
fantastic.
from a 7.
Awesome. And Gloria, what is yours?
I got an 8.
An 8. And actually, there's a +2 on there.
So a 10.
So a 10.
If we can wake up Brock, we'll really have a good chance in this room.
Yeah, let's like a third investigator.
Oh, Brock.
I picture it as I'm kind of just like unsure. I'm not sure I want to get rid of the dog. You're peeking in this room, and I'm just kind of looking after you. Picture having just like a little shadow going, what are you looking at? Did you see that paper? That looks pretty important.
So, this with Hawthorne and Gloria is happening while Karina is going downstairs to retrieve her gun. 9, Brock. Are the two of you still up here on the second floor, or have you been following Karina?
Brock is upstairs, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm with Hawthorne and...
Okay, so you're on the second floor. Got it.
Yep.
You're with us investigating the room, Brock.
But with my eyes closed.
I let her get a head start because I know she has to get the gun and I know she has to get the dog. So at that point in time, knowing that she's got the gun already, I'm just going to go around the other way, take the ladder down, and meet her. Cut her off, pretty much.
I assumed that Karina would have to walk past us on the second floor to
Yes,
get
she
back to
will.
the attic.
She will.
And that we had time to peek around the room.
You do, and 9 is simply getting a head start to meet her. So that is what's happening with everyone else.
Is this safe? Is he okay to go off on his own?
Should I follow him?
No, I was just talking out of game in general to
Oh,
the DM because I'm a little worried about him now.
Because if you're talking to me, I could go
No,
follow
Hawthorne
him.
doesn't even know what 9's doing, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
So, Hawthorne and Gloria, you search through this room a little bit. Brock is not much help. You set Brock down in one of the heavy chairs. What I will say, each one of you with your roles, the two of you, notice a few things. First of all, you notice the more general layout of this room, obviously. There's a beautiful mahogany desk and matching high-backed chair that face the entrance of this room. There is a fireplace with a framed painting above it. Situated in the corners of the room, 2 overstuffed chairs, including the one that you deposit Brock into. And then those floor-to-ceiling bookshelves I was talking about, including a rolling ladder that can be moved from place to place along the bookshelf to reach the highest levels. On the desk here, there is a small lamp with a stained glass shade on it and a pull chain that you will pull to illuminate the room just a little bit. There are also fountain pens, tobacco pipes, a tobacco jar, a desktop lighter. As you all search, or Gloria, with yours being the highest, as you search through the drawers of the desk, they are empty aside from one item, a heavy iron key. That, with that notice check, you are able to look at and realize most likely goes to that padlock that Hawthorne broke that was on the outside of the children's bedroom in the attic. But the two of you also notice something else. These bookshelves have hundreds of books in a variety of topics: history, warfare, strategy, chess, alchemy, all different works, most of them first edition. There are even collections of poetry and fiction in here. But Gloria, you notice it first, and Hawthorne, you're just a second or two later. One of the books with a red cover sticks out a little much to you. Not just because of the color. It just doesn't... Something's off about it. Doesn't look like it belongs.
Can I go to grab it?
Absolutely.
Hawthorne, did you see this?
Yeah, that one looks kind of weird. Do you feel anything? I know you feel like magical things.
Good question. With a 10, do I get a sense about this book?
With a 10, you just your fingers alighting on it, the pages aren't soft like paper. They are hard like wood. This is a fake book.
It's fake. Can I try to like push it in or pull it out? Like
Pushing it in does nothing. But as soon as you go to remove it, it tips at an angle and there is a click as part of the bookshelf itself swings open.
we found a room.
And as it swings open, it very quickly begins to shut again on its own.
Just let it go. Let it go.
Should
Let
we
it go.
look
We
inside?
can pull it again. It's okay. We don't want it to crush us.
It slowly, over the course of about 10 seconds, returns and then just with a soft click, goes back into place. So
Can we tell if it's a room or if it's a hallway?
in that brief second that you were able to look in there, it looks like a small room. Only about maybe 5 by 10. Just a little hidden cubby here.
We shouldn't both go in there, because then who would open the book?
Yeah, I agree. I'll stay here. You're the better noticer. You got brains.
You know, I
think-
feel like I'm pretty good at research, but between the two of us, sometimes I do feel like I don't notice everything, so I will try my best.
I believe in you. Brock, you believe in her too, right?
Yeah.
This is high praise. I feel very comforted. Okay, let's try it.
Pulling the book once again, the springs once again kick the door open temporarily. It's not a heavy door. Gloria, as you head inside and just feel the weight of the door pushing back, you feel like if you propped it open with literally anything, it would probably stay open.
So Hawthorne puts his foot in front of the door and just
Absolutely. No problem. Gloria, as you look inside and then start to head inside, this room contains more bookshelves, but they aren't glamorous. They are simple, utilitarian, and they are packed, not just with tomes, but scrolls. And there is a small door, or a small table here, where you can see some of the scrolls have been laid out. Weights and candles pinning them open. And even with just a quick glance, you can tell that these scrolls have something to do with rituals, occult, necromancy, something like that. It would take you more time of looking at it to really understand what. But even before you do that, you do notice a few other things about this room. In addition to the small work table and the packed bookshelves, there is also a heavy wooden chest with clawed iron feet against one of the walls. The lid of the chest is only half closed because it can't close fully over the skeleton that is partially in it.
Hawthorne, there's a skeleton in the chest in here.
What?
And the text on the table, I think, is about the occult. Like the chanting in the basement.
Can you tell who it is?
The skeleton?
I'm sorry. I thought you were really good with bandages, and I didn't know how far your expertise went. That's all. I'm sorry. Don't look at the skeleton. Do you want to come back? You want to gather some books and come back this way, or are you gonna stay in
I
there?
feel like the stuff on the table could be something. I until Karina comes back up, can I try to make sense of what's on the table? Like,
Are
figure
you
it out.
staying in here, or are you grabbing some of the items and taking them back out into the main room?
How many scrolls are on the table?
On the table, half dozen.
I'll try to take them.
Cool. Yeah, no problem. You roll them up, put them under your arms, and head back to the main desk out here, which is still illuminated by that desk lamp. And at about this time, you do hear the returning footfalls as Karina is coming once more back up the steps.
I find myself trying to read as we continue walking. And I'm going to do that. You sort of like try to focus on it and be like, oh yeah, no, don't worry. Don't worry about me. I'm not crashing into you. Everything's fine.
I will say,
go through
Gloria, as you're gathering these scrolls, you do notice one other thing, as you can't help but give a second glance back to that skeleton. It's wearing some type of armor, just like leather, but in its skeletal hand, it has a piece of paper.
I love papers. I don't want to look at the skeleton. I take the scrolls out of the room. I'm looking at it, but I just like, don't you want the other paper too? So I slip back in, and I want the paper.
Slowly, you pull it from the hand. Your experiences here in this house making you on edge. But you pull the paper free. There's just the soft rattle as the hand falls back down. But nothing else. And as you glance briefly at the letter, even before reading it, you can tell, one, that it is a letter. You can also tell that the hand that it's written in looks vaguely familiar to another letter that you have already read. And as the four of you climb from the second story to the third story, and then third story to the attic, do you read this letter? Or are you focused more on the occult texts that you've collected?
I'm nosy. I read the letter.
It's a familiar flowing script. My most pathetic servant. I am not a messiah sent to you by the powers of this land. I have not come to lead you to immortality. However many souls you have bled on your hidden altar, however many visitors you have tortured in your dungeon, know that you are not the ones who brought me to this beautiful land. You are but worms writhing in my earth. You say to me that you are cursed, your fortune spent. You abandoned love for madness, took solace in the bosom of another woman, and sired a bastard son. Cursed by darkness? Of that I have no doubt. Save you from your wretchedness? I think not. I much prefer you exactly as you are. Your dread lady and master, Stradia von Zarovich.
Karina, remember how I told you there was an affair? I knew it. This also sounds pretty bad. Like this is
Yeah,
this is
Karina
pretty
does
bad.
not stop. She just
Wait, are you hearing me? There's there's drama in the house. Brock.
There's a monster in the basement. I think the past is the past. Perhaps this is some revenge plots. Perhaps this is a greater giant story. But we are trapped in this house, And there is a fucking monster in the basement, and there is madness mist outside. And a fair is the least of the problems right now.
Well, the letter kind of also references the monster in the basement.
Here, Brocky. Speaking. She makes her monsters. We are monsters. He lolls out.
As one of you has already climbed down back into the basement, the other three of you have this conversation. As you start to, once again, take the steps from the attic downstairs. As you climb down, the sounds of that chanting can once again be heard.
That reminds me about all the scrolls that I'm precariously holding. And I'm going to carefully tuck the letter into my purse and switch to trying to read the occult scrolls. I'll put like an arm on Hawthorne so I don't tumble down the stairs as I'm reading.
Without even making a check, because these steps are so long, you're able to read a little bit. These scrolls describe rituals, necromantic practices of a cult called the Priests of Osidisan. Could you make me an occult check with a -2, Gloria?
That would be a 0, but I think in this moment this feels important. And just earlier, I was focusing on my kind of knowledge of the occult, and so I think I want to try to use a Benny and rethink this. So that's a 12.
That's better.
With the -2.
With the -2 already into account. Damn. So that is...
It exploded
Holy
to
crap.
a 14.
Yeah, that is a double raise even with a -2.
When I was able to kind of level up earlier, it was because I wanted to focus on like my experience that I've had so far with the occult and these powers that I've cultivated. So I imagine as I fail the first time, I kind of like think back through this experience in the house and shake my head and say, there has to be something I'm missing. There's something weird. There's this chanting. And I try to look over it again.
This has been happening as the 5 of you have been retracing your steps through the top level of this basement. 9, you got there first. You descended the ladder, and you spent a few minutes here in this dining room with the essentially exploded body of the largest of the stuffed wolves that you all tossed down here to fall. Eventually, though, you hear your friends coming. And as you rejoin them, Gloria, you keep focusing on this. And it's as you all start to descend more into the sub-basement, with the chanting becoming clearer once again, that Gloria, you realize something. These rituals, this cult, all of this that you're reading on these scrolls, this is bullshit. This is phony. This isn't real. These ceremonies don't work like this. And you have this realization as the 5 of you re-arrive in the lowest level of this house. And this dog, Lancelot, has been tucked under Karina's arm. And as you get down here, and Gloria, you have this realization. In Karina, we see as Lancelot begins to lick her face, tail wagging. Those old, roomy eyes looking up at her as she stares through the portcullis to the ritual chamber where the words "feed him" are still carved and something is still breathing and waiting. Thank you for listening to this episode of The City of the Crimson Tower. Gloria was played by Anna Margaret, Karina by Maddie, Nine by Mav, Hawthorne by Sally, and Brock by Lauren. And Ethan did all the other stuff.